Hey guys, Minigun here, bringing you a PvZ on Daybreak against Ostojiy. Alright, so Daybreak, it seems to be an okay map, PvZ. I mean, it's not too heavily favored either way. I would probably give the edge to Zerg, just because the map is so big and the third is so easy to defend. But, and it's also hard for the Protoss to defend Roachling pressure. Because there's a big area in the natural and at the third where they can just swing back and forth and really split up your army a bit. But as long as you split up your army well, which is pretty hard to do, it's harder than it sounds, you can defend it no problem. Now it looks like I'm not scouting. You definitely shouldn't do this unless you have a decent amount of history with the player. I do like to mix in a no scout really fast Nexus, just because I know he won't be doing anything cheesy because I don't do this often, so he's not going to risk doing like a 7 pull to stop it. At least he probably shouldn't. But definitely a good map to Nexus first on. Just you want to scout normally if you're not playing the same people over and over. So I guess we can talk about the PvZ styles on this map. Roachling is probably the most common into Infest or Broodlord. Mutas can be good on this map though. There's a lot of area for them to bounce back and forth. So definitely wouldn't be surprised to see Mutas. But most likely going to see that Ling, Roach, Infester. Alright, so you want to be putting your high hit point buildings at the top, right where I'm about to put it. You want your weak spot to be far away from your ramp. That way you have more time to react if he's doing like a Baneling bust. He has to go all the way around. So you definitely want your weak spot down here. Also, when you're going Nexus first, you have to get this cannon down right on time. I'll see so many times that they delay it by, a second or even half a second, and it really does matter. Because if he runs his Lings straight to your base when you Nexus first, he can actually get in. So you do have to watch out for that and get your cannon down right on time. Also, I have a probe down there ready to block in case something does come. So I'm scouting ahead a little bit to give me a little bit more time. I don't see any Lings yet. So I took my 2 gases immediately. Okay, I'm checking for that third. Looks like he does have that third. So no cheese likely to be coming. Alright, so for the build I'm doing, you get your +1 attack before doing anything. Looks like, there we go. Then you want to be cranking out a Zealot. Now, if you're doing this build, you don't have to use any Chrono Boost on the Forge. You just let it run by itself, and it should time up with your Warp Gate tech pretty nicely. Notice how I have my Nexus rally down to my natural. That's what you want to do as soon as you hit 16 in your main. Alright, as you get in the higher leagues, you don't want to be using Chrono Boost on your core and stuff until you clear out this Ling. Just you don't want to give him any advantage he can get. So deny all scouting if you can. I'm gonna go take that watchtower. Now that the Ling's clear, I can start using my Chrono Boost on stuff. Just gonna get a fast robotics. Now this is something I also like to do. You bring a Zealot Stalker and Pressure, and you pretend like you're doing like a 6 gate or a 5 gate or a 4 gate. So I'm going to put down a Proxy Pylon. It's not actually to do anything, but he got a nice Overlord Scott in. So I may end up not doing it after all, but we'll see. So it does look like I still do it. It's probably questionable if he's really good about his timings and sees that robo. Although this might make him panic, you know. Just any extra lings I can force is good, since I'm playing a passive style right now. If he hadn't got an Overlord Scout in, I would have left that pylon up. But since he probably knows that no pressure is coming, I just decide not to. So you have to be careful in these kind of situations. Like I'm macroing against those lings, yeah, but I don't want to let my macro fall, because it's definitely not worth the 25 minerals of killing a ling. I would definitely suggest just running the Stalker back. Alright, so you want to get a fast observer with this style. See if he's going Spire. You have to know if he's going Spire early, and you don't really need an Immortal that fast. Alright, so when you're going for an Expo, you want Mass Sentry. And definitely get them early on too, so they can start gathering energy. Usually like 7 to 8 is a good number to have when you're doing an Expo like this. Okay, so notice where I have my army positioned. It's right in between my bases, so I can react fast to either side if one's getting attacked. So I see that Spire. So I'll start preparing for mutas. Now I have started trying to wall off this area over here. I'm not sure how I like it. I think it's better without the wall, to be honest. Okay, so definitely send out another observer. I want to make sure he's not going to cancel the Spire or something tricky like that. And I also want to see when the mutas pop. So right now I'm just ramping up my production because I know mutas are on the way, but not out yet. So now's the time to get the production up, and my blink and my walls and stuff. So walls against mutaling are definitely good. You always want to wall off everything. So mutaling is basically a test of who has the most APM. If the Protoss player has more APM than the Zerg, then the Protoss player should really win like 99% of the time. Just because mutas are so dependent on getting harassed in. So he didn't cancel that Spire, so I now know mutas are coming for sure. So I'm going to warp in solely my main now, because that should be the first place he goes. And plus my third should be fine with that cannon there. That second Immortal, probably questionable. Probably shouldn't have got that second Immortal. It's obviously not very good against Ling Muta. But they can be good for Spine, so it's not completely useless. So notice how I'm putting a mixture of Stalkers in my main and my third. Just mixing up the warp-ins. That way I get a nice balance in between the two. I would like to see a couple more cannons at that third though. 2 more cannons or something would be good. So upgrades really important against mutas. So you have to be careful doing what I just did. I did blink under, which is fine, but once the mutas start piling up, you don't want to be blinking under them unless you have a lot of Stalkers. Because what they'll do is they'll bait a blink and then they'll turn around and just attack you. And they can trade cost effectively if they have enough. So you do have to be careful about that. So always use 2 hotkeys against mutaling. Always use 2 hotkeys. So many times I see people who I'm trying to coach or whatever, and they only use 1 hotkey, and it just mutas they completely abuse only 1 hotkey. So make sure you're using 2. Got the Templar Archives down. Storm is definitely a must. And against mutaling, you want to go a low probe count style, because mutaling is really bad in head-up fights. So you want to be maxing out and getting your army as big as possible, while at the same time preventing base trades, which I should get into here a little bit later. So getting that Storm. And also a super common mistake is warping in High Templar, where it's not a good idea to warp them in. I want to put them somewhere safe, so I put them right in the middle. He's only going to be attacking my main and my third. He's not going to be attacking my natural. If he's that far deep, something's wrong. Like, he shouldn't be able to get that far. So I am walling off with gateways because I want to start thinking about the super late game when I'm pushing out. Some more High Templar. Usually you want like 4 to 5 High Templar with your main army, and then have like 1 at each base to help preventing space trades. And another common mistake I see is spreading out cannons. Like, you want your cannons to be as close together as possible, as close together, preferably touching each other. Kind of like that right there. Cannons are no good spread out. They're much better clumped up. So I notice I have a little bit of stalkers everywhere, so I can react fast. I'm just trying to max out right now. If you don't take too much damage from the mutas, you should be able to push and hit before any hive tech comes on. So you're looking to push at like the 16-17 minute mark while being maxed and have a bunch of cannons at your bases so you can't be base traded. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of map control. You can try to take a 4th while doing this push, but it generally doesn't work out. Just because they're trying to counterattack like 99% of the time, so usually doesn't work. So I would like to see more observers from me right now though. Like, I'd like to have one on each side so I can see if he's counterattacking. So you do want a little bit of heads up. I would also like to see a warp prism with this too. Oh, there's one. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm pushing. I notice he has banelings, and so I'm ready with my force fields, ready with my storm. I put up a few preemptive ones just so I can take down the spines with these. He baited a lot of storms there, which wasn't the best on my part. Getting those force fields up. Now I'm using a lot, but I'd rather use them and not need them than need them and then not have them up. Because if you let, you know, even 4 banelings in, that's enough to completely wreck everything. So it looks like he's trying to morph broodlords. Definitely want to focus that down. I was low on sentry energy, so I just went ahead and blocked that off. And warping in sentries late game is generally a bad idea, but against banelings, it's a much better choice than anything else I could have warped in. So that was a pretty ballsy blink, but I should still be trading okay. I would really like to see a 4th base from me right now. I walled off completely, so it's a little bit of a problem, but alright, so situation is I killed off a lot of gas units. I killed off his 4th. He's probably a base up on me right now, but it should be close. If not, I'm a little bit ahead, I believe, just because I killed so much gas units. All the banelings, all the broodlords, and like 7 to 8 infestors. I'll just take my 3rd. Now notice how I grabbed all my Templar from my bases and brought them back down because I don't need them anymore. Definitely need them here. Yeah, without those storms, I would have lost that completely. So you have to be careful how far you overextend when chasing. Always a good idea to have an observer with you. Alright, so definitely want to focus down the important units. I feel like I'm overstaying my welcome maybe a little bit. These lings are just so good at against stalkers, and I don't have very many. I think if he had rallied his a little bit better, he might have been able to push me back here. Burrow zergling at your expo is always annoying. It's building a cannon. And generally it's never a good idea to push up that ramp. If he's got any infestors at all, you're just going to get chain fungled. 20-minute fourth is way too late, though. That's way too late. It should have been down about 17-minute mark or so. I just want to snipe these bases, ignore the spines. Okay, want to reinforce with Tier Stalker. If you've got really bad micro, then you might want to reinforce with Zealots, but generally Stalkers are always going to be more cost effective against Lings in these kind of situations. The more Stalkers you have, the more cost effective they're going to be. Alright, definitely should have some high Templar warped in soon. There we go. Okay. This is something I also need to start doing more, is denying creep. You want to take a couple Stalkers and just deny the active creep tumors really fast. Something I definitely need to work on. Creep is so important in ZVP, just like ZVT. I'm getting a Warp Prism. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Pretty low on money. I think units would have been a better choice. Because what am I going to do with that Warp Prism? He's got Ling Muta, so it's not like I can harass. Alright, so I'm spreading out all my units. You want to storm right under the Broodlords. Feedbacks are more important though. Pull the Stalkers back. Didn't pull them back quite fast enough to get a nice fungal. And that was a pretty even trade for both of us. So once you kill a Zerg army, you've got like a couple seconds to do something. So I'm just going to poke forward and do any damage I can really fast. But then you definitely want to back off though. You don't want to overstay. Like I said, I'm not sure how I feel about doing this. This was pretty dumb. Those Zealots did absolutely nothing at all. I'm just gonna blink forward, snipe this, and hopefully get away with most of them. I was trying to blink a couple Stalkers forward there to give the rest vision so I could blink forward really fast. They didn't quite have Storm. That was pretty unfortunate. All in all, probably not the best trade. Really should be adding Archons. Alright, so I think that was probably a mistake. Trying to snipe that fourth. Lost way too many Stalkers. The reason why I lost there, I would say, I definitely need a faster mothership, obviously. And with that first attack, I didn't have near enough storms. I only had 3 High Templar, I believe. 3 is definitely not enough. You want like 5. 5 High Templar is good. And then 1 at each base. My fourth was way too slow. That was probably the biggest thing that made me lose. 20-minute fourth, it's not what you want. You're looking for a 16, 17-minute third. Or fourth, excuse me. Robotech, you don't really need Robotech against that. So I don't think that was a mistake. The Warp Prism, it was iffy at the end. You don't want to be throwing away money when you're already low on money. Maybe a little bit too aggressive with, in general. Blinking it forward a lot, and that probably wasn't cost effective. So maybe just play a little bit more passive, I think would be good. At least in a situation like that, because I did snipe his extra base. Like Zerg wants that 5 base gas economy. Yeah, if you can keep them on 4, I mean, they still got a decent economy, but it's not that overwhelming gas amount. 5 bases is too much, and I just sniped one, so I should have just retreated, taken my 4th, and just played a lot more passive. So I would say those are the biggest faults of that game, from me at least. So yeah, I guess that'll be the end of this one. Check out the sponsors: Gamma Gamers, PNY, Sound Blaster, QPad. Check out my stream if you haven't already. I'm trying to start to commentate a little bit more. It's really hard to talk and play at the same time, though. Definitely don't underestimate doing that. It's really, really hard. I think that's why you don't see more people doing it. It's just impossibly hard, at least for me. But I'm trying. So follow me on Twitter. It's right there on the screen. And yeah, hopefully you learned something from my my loss. But I know I did. It's always good to check your replays and figure out why you lost. It can be hard to do, but you've kind of just got to get over yourself and do it. But yeah, so hopefully you learned something. I know I did. Hopefully I'll be doing more, so hopefully you enjoyed them. Please do comment if you do like it. If you think it could use some improvement, you know, definitely speak your opinion. Be glad to take criticism. But that's about it for this one, I think. So thanks for watching, and I'll, as always, see you.